guys, what's going on? My name is Ryan. Welcome back to a brand new video on Hijomeatman News, and today we're back for another Let's Talk round number 8 of the World Superbike Championship. And well, it's been a hectic couple of weeks in the World Superbike Championship, and also for me. So before we get on to Laguna Seca, we'll quickly go and recap what happened in Brno, because I wasn't able to do the Let's Talk for that for other reasons out of my control. So we're going to just quickly go through that now. So, in Brno, it was a record-breaking weekend and a hectic weekend, which caused a little bit of upset between the two Kawasaki riders, but we'll move on to that a little bit later on, because we're going to focus and start, obviously, on Saturday, day number 2 for race number 1. And it was Jonathan Rea who managed to pick up his 60th World Superbike win, and now is the most winning rider of World Superbike ever, getting the better of Carl Fogarty. Obviously, they were joint on 59, and obviously Jonathan Rea went on for his 60th win. That was basically really all that happened on Saturday for the big names. Chaz Davies had a bit of a dodgy weekend. Managed to back that up though and put it back with a good second race, which we'll talk about in a minute, because it was quite an action-packed second race. But yeah, Jonathan Rea's 60th win in World Superbikes. Melandri and Sykes rounding off the podium in race number 1. Race number 2, though, was also another record-breaking weekend, because we had a brand new winner and then a manufacturer returning to the top step for the first time since 2009, and that was Alex Lowe's and the Patek Yamaha team. So Alex obviously getting the better of Van der Mark in race 2 with Chaz Davies rounding off the podium. But before all of that, crossing the line and taking the checker flag, we had a lot of drama. So Marco Melandri, Jonathan Rea and Sykes was all starting from 7th, 8th and 9th. Obviously Rea would be 9th, Melandri in 8th and Sykes 7th, because that's 3rd to 1st on the podium. So Melandri, Sykes and Rea all fighting through. Sykes and Rea was together on the track. Made a few moves. There was a move on the final corner and Sykes was waving his hand about. So something had happened there. And then 2 laps later, going in to the penultimate corner, the penultimate chicane, Rea lined Sykes up around the outside to go up the inside. Sykes then turned it back up the inside. There was contact and Johnny Rea went down. And since then, there has been some very nasty comments between the two of them. Jonathan Rea saying, yeah, okay, move on. But Sykes is blaming Peraribo, he's blaming Kawasaki. He's proper going into it. So that makes you suggest that Sykes might not be riding with that team for 2019. But we'll get onto all the rumours right at the end of the video. Marco Melandri, he got the lead in Brno of the race on turn 1. Unfortunately for the Italian, at turn 3, he went wide into the gravel, and that was his race pretty much over. And then just after that, Sykes going down through Schwant's corner, long right-hander downhill, then you start climbing back up the hill. Unfortunately for Tom, he lost the rear and he slid out of the race. So it was a very drama-filled race, but Alex Lowe's was able to stay on, controlled the race ahead of his teammate, and then Chaz Davies in 3rd. Really pleased for Alex, got his first win, and that will give him a lot of confidence going into Laguna Seca, and it will also give Yamaha confidence. Their 3rd win in 4 races. That's not a bad stat. So now we'll go and cross over now to Laguna Seca. So Laguna, obviously great track, back on the calendar in 2013 when Eugene Laverty got the win on the Aprilia, and Marco Melandri also got the Aprilia win on 2014, the year after. Then it was Chaz Davies who did the only double since, I believe the only double since Laguna got back on the calendar, and Jonathan Rea obviously was looking to change that this weekend, and well, he did. He got the win in the first race, and although the first race wasn't very exciting, it was still quite good to see, Rea and Chaz. Chaz kind of led most of the race. He dominated the first part of the race. He was just kind of, looking comfortable. Made a mistake at the corkscrew and allowed Rea through, but Chaz said, look, I didn't think I had the pace anyway to stay in front of him, and that's, fair enough for Chaz to admit that, but it was just good to see, obviously, the Kawasaki and the Ducati all fighting away. It's good to see Chaz Davies back at the front where he belongs. But it was a very, very good race for those two guys. It was also another good race for Alex Lowe's, because he put that Patek Yamaha again on the podium in 3rd position after having a bit of a fight with Eugene Laverty and Marco Melandri was catching them as well. He had a great ride, Melandri, coming from, I think it was like 8th on the grid, and he just fought his way back up. No, he's 10th on the grid, and he fought his way to 5th, so he halved his grid slot. So very, very good ride for Melandri. But in between Lowe's and Melandri was Eugene Laverty on the Aprilia, who said he could fight for a podium. He just missed out, though, by 2 seconds, 2.1 seconds to be exact, and he would line up for race 2 on pole position, because obviously he was 4th. Now, obviously that means with Melandri in 5th, that means the 2013 and the 2014 winner are alongside each other on the front row, with Fabio Flores in 6th in race number 1, lining up in 3rd on the front row. Sykes down in 7th after race 1. Disaster for Tom Sykes. He had a front tyre issue, as did Josh Herring, but we'll move on to him a little bit later. He also had a tyre issue. So Sykes, just something wrong with the front tyre, maybe the front of the bike. Not sure. Didn't work for him at all this weekend, because whatever it was, it didn't get fixed for race 2, and he was nowhere in that either. We don't even think we saw Sykes on TV in race 2 at all. Michael van der Mark in 8th position. Yeah, I thought Michael would have done a little bit better. He managed to improve over race 2, but race 1 just a little bit tricky for Michael van der Mark. Johnny Torres, a top 10 for the MV Agusta, 9th position. That's a very good result for Johnny Torres, with Jake Gagne getting a top 10 finish in race number 1. Very, very good ride from Jake. He finished ahead of Yoni Hernandez, who we don't really know what's going on with him next year. Roman Ramos in 12th. Haneke, who is replacing Andre Jezek in the Gondolini Racing Yamaha, is 13th, with Savadori, who crashed twice in that race, finishing 14th. And then Loris Baz taking the final point slot in 15th position. He also had a crash. He had a crash in qualifying and then had a crash in the race 1 as well. The guys who wasn't classified was PJ Jacobson, who got knocked off by Leandro Mercado, who then knocked off, who then crashed even on the same lap. Camia, he had some sort of, I think it was a gear shifting issue, so he pulled into the pit lane. Josh Herring, who had the tyre issue, he had to adapt his riding style and started pulling his back and getting really bad back pain. And obviously, as most of you should know, Josh Herring rides in the Moto America class, and they were also racing this weekend as well. So he was doing World Superbike and Moto America, so he decided to not risk a crash, save his energy for the Moto America race. And then finally, top rack Razgat Lioglu, who had a very big high side just in the middle of the corkscrew on the right. Very big high side, destroyed the bike. The only thing that they saved from the bike was the engine. That's how badly the bike was damaged. They had to throw the frame, the forks, everything away, swing arm away, everything, and they only saved the engine. And unfortunately, he wouldn't race in race 2 because he got a broken toe. He suffered a broken toe after that crash. So, obviously, as you should be aware now, World Superbike have this reverse grid. So, 4th position in race 1, Laverty. 5th position, Melandri and Flores. That's the front row for race 2. Then it's Sykes in 4th, Van der Mark in 5th, and Johnny Torres in 6th. Then it's the podium finishes in reverse order: Alex Lowe's, Chaz Davies, and Jonathan Ray. And then it's the qualifying positions: Salvadori in 10th, Cambier 11th, and Loris Baz in 12th, with Razgat Lioglu, who is not racing, in 13th. So Leandro Mercado in 14th, with Josh Herring in 15th. Then it'll be Jake Gagne, Yoni Hernandez, Carol Haneke, Jacobson, and then Roman Ramos rounding off the grid. So we had a pretty good race lined up for us actually in race 2, because we had Ray having to fight through, but it was Laverty on pole and he got the whole shot and he led pretty much most of the race, to be honest. Most of the first part of the race anyway, because Jonathan Ray obviously then got back into the lead. Laverty led from lap 1 to lap 7, and then Ray led from lap 8 to lap 25, and when he took the flag and crossed the line with a 5-second lead over Chaz Davies, who fought his way through from 7th on the grid into that 2nd position spot. And then Eugene Laverty from pole position on the podium. Very good result for Eugene. He said he could fight for the podium, and he did. And he proved that at Laguna by getting himself on the box. His first podium since Sepang in 2014. Then it was the two Passa Yamahas who had an absolutely incredible fight in the last couple of laps. Whether or not they could have got past Eugene, it obviously remains to be seen, because obviously he didn't, and we will never know. But if Lowe's had got past Van der Mark a few laps earlier, I think he could have definitely made his way onto the podium for the second time of the weekend, and two good results from Alex Lowe's track that isn't exactly his or Yamaha's favourite. Yamaha's last win being way back in 2000 with Noriyuki Haga at Laguna Seca. Xavi Flores in 6th position, good result for him. Another good result for Torres as well on the MV Agusta. Sykes down in 8th again. Poor weekend for Tom Sykes. Something just not working with the Kawasaki, and well, it looks like he won't be riding that bike next year. Jake Gagne in 9th, another top 10 finish for Jake, and then Loris Baz rescuing his weekend. You could say in 10th position ahead of Leandro Mercado, Roman Ramos, Leon Camia, who suffered a crash again in race 2. He finished ahead of Haneke, Hernandez, and then Josh Herring finishing 16th, missing out on the points after being pretty much in the top 10 for 75% of the race. The guys who didn't finish was PJ Jacobson, Lorenzo Savadori, and Marco Melandri, who all crashed out from the race. So with Jonathan Rea getting the double, that means he is now the most successful rider at Laguna Seca. 4 wins to his name, and he leads the championship. He's on 320 points. Chaz Davies on 245. Bit of a up and down weekend for Michael van der Mark, but he extends his championship lead in 3rd. He extends that 3rd position lead over Tom Sykes in 4th. And Alex Lowe's closing up as well to Tom Sykes in 5th, with Melandri in 6th. Xavi Flores in 7th. Top man Razgat Lioglu just a couple of points ahead of Eugene Laverty, who closes the gap up nicely to Top Rack. He's in 8th and 9th. Johnny Torres in 10th, rounding out the top 10, 1 point ahead of Loris Baz. Then it's Leon Camia in 12th. Obviously missed most of the season after a horrendous crash in Aragon. Lorenzo Savadori 13th. Michael Ruben Rinaldi, who obviously doesn't take part in the non-European round, so he wasn't racing this weekend. Roman Ramos in 15th. And then you go down Mercado, Gagne, Hernandez, Jacobson, and then Haslam Giuliano, who wildcarded. Haneke in 22nd. He's now a full-time rider. Bradley Ray, Luke Mossy, and then Andre Jezek, who paid for the full season and has been kicked out after pretty much half of it. So, yeah, bad stuff for Andre Jezek. So, that's pretty much what happened at Laguna Seca. That's pretty much, you know, what happened. Jonathan Rea, both races, masterclass, absolutely incredible result for him. I have got a little tweet from myself. If you don't follow the HRH News Twitter, I do recommend you go and do that. So it was a good weekend, especially race 2. This was about race 2, so might not have been the most exciting race. As we saw, there was a good battle though between obviously the two Pata Yamahas. Alex Lowe's trying to get past a turn 1, 160 mile an hour when he come over the crest and go airborne. Tried to cut me inside the Van der Mark there, and then he made an incredible move around the outside at the corkscrew. But Jonathan Rea, like I said, showed what class act he is, and then obviously Chaz Davies on the Ducati back at the front and gave the fight to Rea in the first race, and just took his time getting through the field, but managed to get back for a 2nd position. Eugene Laverty back on the podium with Aprilia, and like I said, his first since 2014. Alex Lowe's a 3rd and a 4th at what is a bogey track for him, a Yamaha, like I said. Tom Sykes, a track that he's gone so well at. He's got 3 wins there in the past, and, well, disaster for him. 7th and 8th for him. Loris Baz saved his weekend in race 2 with a 10th. Jake Gagne, 2 much needed results for him. And then Josh Herring, again, another great ride for him. And PJ Jacobson was having a good ride as well in both of the races before getting knocked off in the first and then and crashing in the second one as well. Camia, he also had 2 good races before his issues and then crashing out as well. And Melandri, he had a bit of an up and down weekend. He qualified badly because of the yellow flags that Baz had at the corkscrew for his crash, so he couldn't improve in his lap, Melandri, so he was stuck down in 10th. Laguna, very one line, can't really pass, although Johnny Rea and Chaz Davies didn't have much problem with that. But yeah, just got hampered in the first race and then crashed out in the second race. But he just doesn't have the good feeling with the bike on the full tank of fuel, and that's obviously what caught him out in race number 2. Now then, I mentioned right at the start about the Sykes and Rea kind of clash and the interview that Sykes did, and having to go a Perariva and also Kawasaki. So there's a few rumours floating around that Tom Sykes will join a brand new team for World Superbike next year, and that's going to be GRT. who is currently running Mahias and Caricasulo in the Super Sport Championship. They're going to move up into the World Superbike class with Tom Sykes, and looks like they're going to have Cameron Bobier in there instead of Jake Gagne. So Jake Gagne will be leaving the World Superbike class. He'll leave Honda, and Cameron Bobier will go up into the World Superbike class. If it's not Cameron Bobier, it could be Marco Melandri, because he's got a very good relationship with Andre Dossoli, who works in Yamaha. So that's the latest rumour around Sykes. He could be going over to a brand new Yamaha team. On the other Yamaha camp, the Patti Yamaha, they both look like they've re-signed her, and an announcement will be coming soon. So keep an eye out for that on our Facebook, Twitter and Instagram. You'll see all the links on the screen somewhere. So make sure you go follow those. Definitely follow Twitter, because that's probably the most used one. Another rumour is that Bradley Ray will be going in from British Superbike. Stuart Hitchin, the team owner of the build-based Suzuki in British Superbike, he will be bringing a Suzuki into World Superbikes with the backing of Yoshimura, who is a pretty big company in the Moto America class, a big sponsor there. So that is another big rumour. Another rumour is that the Milwaukee camp will be returning to BMW. They obviously ran BMW in 2015 and 16, I think, with Josh Brooks. Another rumour is that Milwaukee will be returning to BMW. They ran that a couple of years ago with Josh Brooks and Carol Abraham. Brooks, obviously, the standout race was Assen in mixed conditions. He got the lead and then unfortunately crashed a couple of laps later. A very good race for Josh before crashing out. He's obviously now back in the British Superbike Championship, but the relationship with Aprilia apparently might be breaking down, and they will be going over to BMW. If they don't go to Aprilia, I wouldn't be surprised if they get rid of Lorenzo Savadori. It'd be a shame, because he's a good rider, and they will bring in Scott Redding, who is obviously riding Aprilia at the moment in MotoGP. I wouldn't be surprised if they brought him over into World Superbikes to partner up with Eugene Lavity. There's a few big names from MotoGP who is rumoured in the World Superbike paddock. You've got Bautista, who currently rides the Pull and Bear Aspar. Both of the Mark VDS riders, Morbidelli and Luthi, although Morbidelli is now strongly linked, obviously, with that Petronas Yamaha bike and project that's kind of rumoured around the MotoGP paddock. We also have Abraham, who could be coming back over, and obviously Scott Redding, who is a very big rumour at the moment in the paddock. But I don't even think Scott knows what he's doing yet. So that's pretty much the latest rumours in the World Superbike paddock. Let us know what you think about those. And yeah, we're going to wrap up the video now. It's been going on for about 20 minutes, I think, according to this Audacity file. But we'll cut that down probably. So yeah, that was the weekend for Laguna Seca. Rider of the day for Saturday, I'm going to say we got Johnny Ray. The way he just passed Chaz. Obviously, Chaz made a mistake, but then got past him. Really aggressive move as well. When he cut over his nose on the bottom of the corkscrew, very aggressive stuff from Ray. Then the way he just controlled the race, got to say Johnny Ray. Rider of the day for Sunday, Eugene Lavity on the box for the first time since 2014. And then rider of the weekend for me was Alex Lowe's. You can see all this on our Twitter as well. Alex Lowe's, third and fourth at what is a really tough track for Alex and Yamaha. Two good results. So let us know what you think. Rider of the day for Saturday, Sunday, and then rider of the weekend in the comments as well if you watch the World Superbike races. So that's going to be it for today. If you guys did enjoy the video, make sure you smash that like button, hit subscribe. Let us know, like I said, all your thoughts down in the comment section below. And I'll see you guys next time. Thank you for watching, and goodbye.